Hey guys, so Lilith. I Lilith. She's doing well. She's not as big as I want her to be, but she's getting there. You know, runts tend to just they start out small and then they sprout. And then it looks like they eat other cats in their spare time because they become so big. My cat, I have a cat outside, black cat, full black. Apparently full black female cats are rare, but her name is Lilith. You can find her on my channel. I think I just did a video of her a couple days ago. She's sitting back there. She was eating cat food with chicken on it. Uh, but yeah, Lilith. I also have a cat named Lucifer, who's like 14, and he was around long before Hazbin Hotel. He was around like 3-4 years ago. So, um, yeah, two black cats, one Lucifer, one Lilith. But this Lilith, Hazbin Hotel Lilith, ex-wife to Lucifer and Adam Lilith. So put yourself in Lilith's position here. You're sitting on the beach in heaven, and Luke comes up to you and just delivers this huge influx of information. Several pieces of huge information that you now have to somehow process in 22 seconds. So put yourself in Lilith's position and just keep that in mind for this.
Adam is dead. Your deal is done, and I'm in charge now. Your brat is threatening the very foundation of heaven. And if you want to stay here, you're going down there and stopping that bitch. You understand me, Lilith?
So, the first thing she hears is Adam is dead. So the first thing is your ex-husband is dead. Now Lilith is not stupid. She sees Lute's missing an arm. She sees Lute covered in blood. She hears that Adam is dead. So clearly he didn't just die. You know, he was in heaven. He was, there's no way he would have died. So he was clearly killed. She then hears that her brat, Charlie, is threatening the foundation of heaven. So she will probably put 2 and 2 together and realize Charlie is responsible for her ex-husband's death. And then Lute basically says, you need to go down to hell and stop her. So I had the theory that she left hell. You know, she was tired of Lucifer and his depression and this dude who was locked up in his freaking workshop all the time. That she stayed in Charlie's life long enough until she became older. But then she kind of said to herself, hey, yeah, I'm queen of hell, but I've done my job. I've been a mother, which, if Lilith is in fact the true mother of Charlie, because Lilith is a cursed woman who's cursed to not have children. People are like, oh, Eve was actually a surrogate, but if Eve is Rue and she's chained up somewhere, I seriously doubt that Rue is going to be a surrogate mother for Lucifer and for Lilith. So people are like, oh, Eve's actually Charlie's real mom. Well, if you see Rue, or we know to be Rue, who we think is Eve, she has chains. She's like chained up somewhere. So I doubt she was a surrogate mother. She's been chained down there since she ate that fruit. So, assuming she is Charlie's real mother, she thinks to herself, I founded hell, Lucifer is hell itself, but I brought hell together. The rings of hell, because unlike the other sinners, Lucifer and Lilith, they can traverse hell, all of it. They're not bound to just one ring. Even though Lucifer is the ruler of the Pride Ring, he's not bound to it. So he can travel through, because he's hell itself. So it'd be kind of stupid for the man who is hell itself to be like, oh, sorry, you can't travel beyond this point. It's like, do you know who I am? I'm hell itself. But same thing as Queen of Hell and First Woman. She's pretty much sure bound by the same that whole thing where she can kind of traverse and actually she didn't even have to traverse. Her voice, her song was so strong and so powerful and so beautiful that it radiated and just throughout hell. She didn't even have to go to the other circles. But that's how strong and powerful she is, that her voice, her song was able to be heard throughout hell. Not just the Pride Ring, but all of hell. And her song is what made hell come together and form it essentially, eventually, into what we see now. Civilizations, cities, people living their lives as sinners, but living their lives with children. I mean, you see Carmilla, she's got 2 daughters. Now, were those her daughters in real life? They were sinners too, and they died and came to hell, or did she have those children in hell? Regardless, they have children, they have families, they have jobs, they have, it's a second life for them. It's not a great life, but most of them are just like, this is my second life, and it's better than just being gone for good. So I'm just gonna live my life. But she's the one who started it. She established everything. So, but she's like, okay, well, I established hell. My daughter is grown up. She doesn't really need, me in her life full time anymore. I'm tired of dealing with Lucifer and his depression because the guy is just in his workshop all the time. I barely see the guy. So she goes back to heaven and probably talks to Sarah first. She's standing at the gates trying to get in with Saint Peter. And he's like, "Oh, you'll have like Lilith, yeah. You'll probably have to talk to Sarah." And she's like, "Okay, then let me talk to Sarah." And then Sarah will pop up, "Hello, first woman," or something like that. "Hello, Lilith." How she kind of greets Charlie, "Greetings, daughter of the morning star." It's very formal, because she is the first woman, so, first woman. And Lilith will be like, "Oh, hey, I split up. Me and Lucifer are Splitsville. So, as first woman, can I get back into heaven?" And Sarah will be like, "Ooh, yeah, maybe you should ask Adam. I mean, he is first man and your ex-husband, so maybe you should ask him." So she goes to Adam, and he's probably not happy to see her because she kind of left him, but he was kind of a douchebag and still is. She didn't want to serve him, because being the first dick, he thought he was the dickest dick who ever dicked. That he is the be all end all of dick, that every other dick that descends from him is going to be inferior dick. So obviously first man comes with the ego trip. She didn't want to deal with it. But she goes to him and says, "Hey, me and Lucifer split up and I don't want to be in hell anymore. So Sarah told me to talk to you." And Adam should be like, "Yeah, sure, whatever, babe. Despite the fact that you left me for that asshole Lucifer, I still think you're pretty hot. But if you want to stay here, you cannot go back to hell. That means no communication with anyone. That means your little brat too." And so, hence why she hasn't spoken to Charlie in 7 years, because she can't. But here, Lutz says, "Your deal is done. I'm in charge." Meaning, I know he said that you can't go to heaven or talk to anyone down there, but now I'm telling you, you need to go down there. And also this part right here where Luke talks to her in a very like a aggressive manner, and she looks down kind of like, okay, this is exactly why I didn't want to be around Adam, this treating me like I'm a fucking servant. This is why she left Adam. But Lilith, Luke's like, "If you want to stay here, you're going down there and stopping that bitch. You understand me, Lilith?" Like in a very, it's like, "I'm in charge. You do what I say." And she's like, "This is exactly why I fled the garden in the first place. I didn't want to listen to Adam, and I don't want to listen to her. But if I want to stay here, I don't have much of a choice. So, but all this information that she's taking in, this Adam's dead, her daughter was responsible for it in a way, and that now after 7 years she has to go back down to heaven and take care of Charlie in a way, either take care of her, you know, which I don't think she's going to do, because despite the fact that she wants to stay in heaven, I don't think she's going to take out her own daughter to do it, because despite what people think, I think she does genuinely care about Charlie. She's also probably thinking, great, so I got to explain myself. I need to explain where I've been for the last 7 years, which I have to see Charlie and explain to her why I haven't answered her calls in 7 years, because Charlie calls her mom all the time. It's like, oh, Mom, I guess you're really busy. And it probably hurts not being able to talk to your own daughter because, well, if you want to stay here, you can't. But she's got to talk to Charlie. The interaction between her and Lucifer is going to be awkward as hell. Like, the conversation. She's at the hotel and Lucifer's there, who's probably living at the hotel now. Jeremy Jordan, he didn't confirm anything, but he's like, oh, well, for sharp-eyed viewers, if you look at the top of the hotel, there's a giant room that it's in the shape of an apple. He's like, I'm not confirming anything, but we might be seeing Lucifer at the hotel. Like not just like visiting, but actually living there after him kind of connecting with Charlie again, and he's not going to want to leave her. I mean, he still has his castle, whatever, but he's now probably gone home, taken all those pictures of him and Lilith and Charlie and brought them all over to the room. And so the hotel is probably more of a permanent residence for him now. But just like the Imagine, she's going through her mind and she's thinking she's going to have to see Lucifer. But then what's that conversation going to be like? I mean, I can imagine it's not going to be yelling. It's not going to be, oh, you, this and that. It's going to be very awkward. I can see them both being very silent, just like, they're like, say Lucifer doesn't even know that Lilith is there, and Charlie brings her in like, hey, Dad, look, Mom's back. And there's like that awkward silence, and you see Lilith, who is very tall, and we see our short king, and he's like, Lilith. She's like, Lucifer, you look really good. Yeah, you're looking really good. Oh, thank you. So, how many years has it been? 7? Oh, golly, 7 years. The time certainly flies, doesn't it? Even in hell, 7 years. Long time. She's like, yeah, 7 years. So, you were in heaven. Golly, how'd you do that? I talked to Adam. Oh, your ex-husband let you into heaven. Ooh. I didn't know you were speaking terms. I thought you left the garden for a reason. But oh, he let you in heaven. Well, that was nice of him. Guess he wasn't all bad after all. And just a weird conversation. But then, time goes on and she sees that Lucifer is not the same person he was. He's confident. He's basically returned to the man she fell in love with in the first place. Very confident, very full, not full of himself, sure of himself. That despite that he had fallen from heaven, he was still sure in what he wanted, and he still wanted people to have free will. And he had this idea in his mind, and he carried it out. So that's going to be the person she sees. She's going to see him being a father, an active father, not like, oh, hey, Charlie snuck out of bed. I just put her to bed and she snuck out and she went to see, because that's what, also the people with, in More Than Anything, when Charlie's doing her a little bit, people were thinking that Lucifer, or Lilith took Charlie away from Lucifer. No, I mean, come on, people. The visual says everything. She's in a nightgown. I've said before, I guarantee you she snuck out of bed a lot to go to her dad's workshop to see what he was working on, because he was constant razzle and dazzle. Those were like plushies, like toys that Lucifer made for her. So she was constantly going to his workshop to see what he was doing. She was in a little nightgown. So it's clear Lilith came in to take her back to bed. I don't know where people get the idea that, oh, Lilith took her away from Charlie. No, we see Lucifer in his workshop with pictures of Charlie as she's fully grown. So she didn't take her away from Lucifer. But she'll see someone who's more confident, someone who's in her Charlie's life, who isn't cooped up in a workshop anymore, making rubber ducks and whatever else, but instead seeing a, confident ruler of hell. So I think they're going to reconnect, which rightly so. I mean, Charlie needs her parents, especially for what's to come. The retribution of killing Adam. So, but that right here, she's like, I'm gonna have to talk to Lucifer. I'm gonna have to see him. I'm gonna have to see Charlie, and I'm gonna have to explain where I was. I have to explain what I've been doing and why I haven't answered her call in 7 years, even though I really wanted to. Because despite what people think, I do love my daughter, but I knew that she was a strong woman and that she didn't need me in her life like that. But oh, our small king though, he's gonna be like, oh, Lilith. Lilith is here. Okay, no, didn't expect that. But I think after the awkward situation that they have, they are going to kind of have a heart to heart. There might be some raised voices, but I think it's good for them to get it off their chest. Lucifer needs to understand that she left because of him, because he was just down all the time. He never came out of his workshop, and he was just cooped up in there, just creating things all the time, just all the time. So I think that they will eventually get back together, hopefully. I would love to see that happen. But she's in this moment, she's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. There's got to be a way to get out of this. It's like, it's not a deal. Like, I'm not giving anyone my soul to do this, but like, yeah, I don't want to do it. I understand Adam's dead, but like, that's his fault. He's the one with the exterminations. That was his fault. Just because Charlie had a hand in it doesn't mean that's her fault. Maybe he shouldn't have been going to hell to wipe people out. Maybe Sarah shouldn't have started to believe this whole uprising. It's like, Sarah, come here. You understand you're a seraphim, right? We saw the power difference between Lucifer and Adam. So you have Lucifer, who's a seraphim, and Adam, the first man. And you saw that Adam was wiping the floor with everyone. And then you saw that Lucifer was just basically fucking with him. So a seraphim can easily go into hell and just everything on their own. There's no one in hell, apart from, actually not even Charlie at this point, who could surpass a seraphim in strength. So what uprising were you worried about? Even all the demon lords of hell, you're just out of existence if you wanted to. Again, they were nowhere near the strength of Adam. Adam was wiping the floor with everyone, even Charlie. But then Lucifer comes in and just mops the floor with him, one smack, and he makes a freaking crater in the ground. And the only reason he didn't kill Adam was because Charlie told him to stop because he's had enough. Even then, she was showing mercy to people. But uprising, please. And overpopulation, I mean, I guess that's what you get when you don't know what gets someone into heaven. But yeah, Lilith, she's like, great. She actually, in her mind, she's probably giving the same kind of expression that Vaggie gave when Charlie said that she was going to be with her in heaven. Yay! She doesn't want to be there. She does not want to go back to hell. She doesn't. But yet now she has to. She needs to go back and deal with her daughter, and she has to see Lucifer again, which is going to be really, really awkward because those two are going to awkward silence for a minute, and then they're going to start making weird small talk like, ho, 7 years. Golly, the time certainly flies. You look good. You look good. Is that a new necklace? No, it looks nice. No, nice. It's just it's gonna be so weird. But yeah, just put yourself in that position. You have this influx of information being given to you, and it's like, what? What what do you want me to do about it? It's like, I'm just can you give me a minute to process all of this? You're telling me my husband is dead. My ex-husband is dead. That my daughter is somehow responsible. And despite the fact that I made a deal with my ex-husband to stay here, and he told me not to go back down there, you're now telling me that I have to go down there and deal with my daughter. Great. But also being told this in a way where she's being reminded why she fled the garden in the first place. It's like, okay, I didn't want to be Adam's servant, and I sure as hell don't want to be yours. I don't care if you're his lieutenant. I don't care if you're an angel. I don't care if you're a female. I'm first woman, bitch. I have the same authority that Adam had. So I don't take orders from people. I don't take orders. I'm going to go down there because I want to. You can't fire me. I quit. No. But yeah. I mean, really, let me know what you would do. Like, you're given that position where you're given like these huge pieces of information in 20 something seconds, and your mind has to process all of this somehow. And what else? What do you think Lucifer, is she going to fulfill the whole thing, or do kind of like what I think? She's going to kind of start it. I think she's going to be like an Alistair type thing where Alistair did come to the hotel for a purpose, but now it looks like he's kind of warming up to everyone. Even he's talking to Nifty, and he kind of respects what she says, and he kind of acknowledges the fact that these group of people, they're pretty nice, and it is good to be around them. After everyone thought he died, he could have easily just stayed gone. But no, he came back. Because even though he might have this agenda, it seems like he does genuinely care for them, even though he doesn't want to admit it. Just the way he acts with Charlie. There are certain things he's done with, like, subtle things with Charlie. But I think she's going to come back. She's going to kind of start her plan. She's going to have under the guise of, oh, yeah, I want to see my daughter again. After 7 years, I thought it was time. And, she's going to be like, she's going to do what Pentious was going to do until he got caught. But she's going to kind of somewhat start succeeding in it until she realizes that she doesn't want to do it anymore. That even though she was there for a reason, she's reconnected with Charlie. She's reconnected with Lucifer. And she doesn't want to see her daughter get hurt. So, but I think she's going to start her plan, but then realize that she doesn't want to go through with it because it's like, I don't care what heaven does. I don't care what heaven does to me. I'm not abandoning my daughter again. It's been 7 years. I see the kind of strong, independent woman she's become. She's got people who love her, and she has people who she truly loves. She's got her father back in her life, and she's the Lucifer I remember, the man I fell in love with the first time. So she's going to kind of be part of that hotel as well, which mommy and daddy back, maybe they can have a little, her and Lucifer, a little alone time in that apple room. But yeah, what do you think it's going to be with her? Do you think she's going to stick through with the plan? Do you think she's going to kind of convert to being good after being around Charlie? And also, what would you do in this situation with that information being given to you? Anyway, that's it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.